Let's get in Jayant Sinha, who's the chief spokesperson of BJP, who joins us on the show from New Delhi to speak about the US visit, Make in India and lots more. Good having you, Mr. Sinha. Thanks for joining in. PM Modi is meeting some of the most powerful global CEOs. What's going to be his pitch during his US visit?
I think he's going to say what he has already told us, which is come to India, make in India. That India is open for business, that India is very, very interested in attracting foreign investment like he has shown in Gujarat, and that we would like to be able to see large-scale investments in manufacturing and in infrastructure that will enable us to build up the infrastructure that we so desperately need, while at the same time creating lots and lots of jobs in construction, in manufacturing, and in other ancillary sectors. So that's really going to be his pitch, which is come to India, make in India, and create jobs in India.
Jayant, hi, morning. India has opened its doors to more foreign investment in sectors like defense and insurance. Is that enough to attract American investment, or will the US now see greater market access as well?
No, I think this is more than sufficient. If Indian FDI is not at the level that it should be, it's less so because of, FDI in certain sectors. Most sectors, by the way, in India, with respect to FDI, are very open and are quite competitive with the rest of the world. So the issue is not so much the amount of FDI that's allowed in certain sectors. The issue in India has to do with very many other factors, such as the ease of doing business, such as the availability of land, such as the quality of infrastructure. And of course, the tax regime. If we can get these other factors taken care of, then people are not really going to worry too much about FDI. They're going to really be attracted to the market that we represent, as well as the export capability that people are able to put in place once they are in India. For instance, there's been a lot of talk recently about the fact that Daimler-Benz, which is one of the world's largest truck manufacturers, is in fact going to be using Bharat-Benz, which is their domestic company here, to really export trucks into Southeast Asia. So it's that very unique capability that India represents compared to other destinations, which is we've got a very large market, perhaps second to only China in terms of what's possible, and at the same time we have the capabilities, we have the talent, so that India itself becomes an export base as well. And that's what draws people to India. And I don't think that attractiveness, those aspects will diminish. We just have to make it very possible for people to do business in India. And as they do business in India, they have the infrastructure, they have the land, they have the power to be able to set up their factories. Those factories will come to India.
Mr. Sinha, markets are eagerly awaiting the PM's Make in India roadmap. Now, is this going to be a vision statement, or is it going to be a detailed fine print?
No, I don't think we are at the detailed blueprint stage yet. I mean, this was announced on August 15th and we are now in September 23rd, 24th. So, it's obviously a little too early to be able to give the detailed blueprint. But many of the important building blocks are in place. For example, the Delhi-Mumbai Industrial Corridor, the work we want to do in terms of railways to make freight available, rethinking the whole sort of SEZ policy. So a lot of the building blocks are in place for really stimulating the Make in India program. I think more of those will be sketched out tomorrow. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the devil is going to lie in the details of things like land acquisition, things like, how the tax regime is going to work. It's going to rely on whether power is going to be available or not. It's going to depend a lot on labor law reform and so on. So those are the details that people will be examining in the few months coming up before major commitments are made with respect to foreign direct investment and Make in India.
Right. So what can the government do to improve the ease of doing business?
Well, the government is already doing quite a bit to make it easy to do business in India. For one thing, we are in fact expanding the manner in which this is measured. Right now, my understanding is that the ease of doing business in India is measured by just looking at Mumbai. It doesn't include many of the other places in India that are also major business and industrial hubs. So I think we'll make sure that the measurements for this are done in a more comprehensive manner, point one. Point two, I think we've been very transparent about how large projects are getting approvals or are facing bottlenecks, and that's all available on the website right now. I think every project greater than 1,000 crores is being tracked in minute detail, and very many bottlenecks and other inhibitors that are being identified are being tackled in a very proactive manner. So that is for the very large projects. Number three, for many other approvals, like for example in the Environment Ministry, what is trying to be done is to set up a portal where all the different permissions and all the different clearances that are required will be transparent, easily understandable, and you can know exactly how you're doing. So step by step what we're trying to do is we're trying to, as the Prime Minister has said, get rid of the red tape and instead put in place the red carpet so that we can welcome investment to India. So this is something that's going to take a lot of hard work. There are a lot of cumbersome regulations, a lot of things that have built up over time in India, and we're just hacking away at it, trying to work at it so that overall it becomes much more easy to do business in India, and it becomes much more convenient to make investments and get to commercial operations and therefore profitability.
A bit of a focus, Mr. Sinha, on the US visit as well, coupled with Make in India. I mean, India and US have recently been at loggerheads over multiple trade issues. At the core is the issue of immigration reform. Will the PM take it up strongly with President Obama, you think?
Well, I think you have to look at the entire America-India trade relationship in context. Immigration is a very important aspect of the relationship, but it is, I would say, one of many, many different elements. There are very important partnership elements in this relationship associated with climate change, for example, associated with foreign direct investment, associated with pharmaceuticals, associated with civilian use of nuclear energy. So we have to look at all of those different elements of the relationship. Now, what will happen in any negotiation is that there will be some give and there will be some take. Now, where the give and take is going to depend a lot on the domestic agenda of both the two heads of state, for Prime Minister Modi as well as President Obama. And so I'm hopeful that as the full package is put together, there will be some progress on the issues that are of great importance to India, which, by the way, includes not just immigration, it includes the social security money that's being put in by Indian workers working in the US, and it also includes the WTO. So exactly how the package is going to end up looking like once it's settled is hard to predict, but I'm hopeful that some of the elements that are important to India will get the attention that they deserve.
Right. India's, protectionist stance on the trade facilitation agreement has also been criticized by the US. Will India be willing to recalibrate its position, and if not, could it be a deal breaker?
Well, I would not at all characterize it as being protectionist. I think what we're trying to do as far as the WTO is concerned is to come up with a balanced agreement that is fair to all sides. We have said that we are very much in support of the trade facilitation agreement, and in fact we are already starting to take action on some of the trade facilitation measures unilaterally. We are going to start to do some of that in any case. But at the same time, what we are saying is that as you're pursuing the areas of importance that are for you, which is trade facilitation, you also have to at the same time pursue the areas that are of interest and importance to us, which is on the food stockpiling side. So I think what we need is a balanced agreement that takes into account the interests of all parties and is not just one-sided or focused just on the interests of the developed countries, not on the interests of the developing countries. Now, on the developing country side, I would like to emphasize one important point is that no other developing country has food stockpiles at the scale that India does and would be distortionary if indeed they were released in global markets. So in a way, India is kind of unique in this situation, and so it makes it all the more complicated because in some ways you can isolate India on this issue. All that being said, it is a matter of equity for developing countries and for the developed world, and that's why I think it's very important to bring in place a balanced agreement. So again, I would say that I would reject your characterization of it being protectionist. This is really just a fair agreement between parties on the one hand that want trade facilitation and parties on the other hand that want to make sure that they have food security for their population.
That's a fair call, Mr. Sinha, but good having you. Thanks so much for taking the time out and giving us that perspective.